hapon, Jiggy Jr. It's
Maayong
been a
hapon.
long time.
Ngayong hapon. Daghang salamat sa
Yeah.
imong pag-invite nako diri, Mr.
Yeah.
Michael Goho. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, salamat sad kayo. It's good to see you.
Yeah, man.
I just wanted to ask, how are things with you? Kaya bago ra ko nabalik sa Cebu. And I remember early on, katong pandemic times, we had some interaction. So I wanted to catch up lang and see how you're doing, any new developments.
Where do we start, man? Daghang kayo mga panghitabo na gid ba since we last spoke. First of all, I miss you, man. I really do. I loved our conversations back then during the katong mga post pandemic era.
Yeah.
Atong mga datlaw mga conversations. But karon I'm still here. I'm still in media. Unfortunately or fortunately for Cebu, I'm still in radio. I'm also now a part of the vice mayor, now mayor's office media team. I'm also in part of TOPS now as well. So so many things happening with me at the same time. It's a pretty exciting time, I think, for Cebu, and also for me. So many opportunities, so many things that are happening in the city of Cebu, the city that we love.
So a lot on your plate now.
Daghan sa daghan.
Makaya ra, time management.
Kaya mukat. There's only one way to do things, of course. It's one at a time. But, you try, man. Like I said earlier, ako nag-ari diri sa iyo kay medyo nadugay-dugay ko sa akong gibuhat. Naabtan ko mga alas 3 sa buntag. But naka-nap ko ganiya. So that's why I couldn't make it here earlier.
Power nap. Okay.
Power nap, yeah. So I had a chance to sleep with Cooper, my pug. Yeah, mga an hour. Mata ko and I feel refreshed now. So I'm ready to go and talk to you, Michael Goa, sir.
Okay. I wanted to ask lang kay, you've been a renowned figure in Cebu. Familiar voice man jud ka, especially sa radio for many years. What made you pick that career path? Kana na journey? Was it always your choice early on? Did you always know this was what you wanted?
This is actually an interesting story. I've told this story several times, but I think it bears repeating. Pagkabata na ko ba, naami kaning gathering with my aunties and my titos and titas and cousins. Naami annual gathering of mura siya novena bitaw. It's the Virgen de la Paz. Virgen de la Paz is the saint of safe travels for the Catholics. And kaning every year at a certain month of the year, kaning kada adlaw ato misa among angkol nga balay unya kaning mo sabat ming novena niya kaning kusog ikaw mo sabat ba niya kaning dako ikog tingog kuno ba yeah, all my titos and titas after the novena would say kung ano mo tingog uy mura makag-announcer so kaning it stuck to me ba nga kada tuig na siya gud nga every time mahitabo ng novena naagi mosulti ang make a comment like that. At the same time, my mom is a radio fan back in the day when she was young, so murag in a way murag siya peer pressure nga murag na plant ang idea nga mag-announcer ka. At the same time, I probably also subliminally want to live the life that my mom wanted to. She wanted to be in radio, I guess, or was a fan of radio. So murag those two forces plus kaning my cousins introduced me to the radio station that is Y101. Paghuman murasag kaning lingaw sa ko ba nga. So pag high school nako bay manghugas ko og plato kaning mag-adlib-adlib ko. Mag-adlib ko ba? So nastorya ko og kaning murag DJ ba? Sunod-sunod ko sa mga DJ sa radio ba. And then eventually back in 1992 I had my first professional job as a radio DJ in 92.3 Killer B, now Magic 89.9 paghuman Y101 and so on and so forth. So that's really the story. So, it's really like a
early 90s, no?
Oh.
So, I think 3 years old pa ko anang 1992.
Well, I started when I was 2 years old also.
Wow.
So
okay. But you're also doing a lot of hosting.
Hosting. I host corporate events. I usually host runs. In fact, I'm hosting the Hoka run. I see you all the time, man. Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
You're very active physically.
Lately raman, but I try to get more physical para healthy ba.
Correct.
Aging, I try to stay in shape.
So and that I also do a lot of runs and all that stuff. I have 3 runs that I'm hosting this month, including the Hoka run. I noticed that you're wearing one, and I love those shoes, by the way.
Yeah.
So corporate events also, mga press conferences and all of that. So na mga ginagmay nga rackets aside from the the day jobs.
Okay. Given the shifts with this generation, di ba, technology, TikTok, and everything, I'm sure a lot has shifted from radio to more on podcast. What's your take on that, given there's less on emphasis on radio?
I think the skill sets are the same. Nalang siya gamay nga tweak unya radio personalities as we know it can still manage to pivot to the digital world now. For example, kanang gipambuhat nila ni, let's say, Mr. Beast, right? Or let's just say Chase Kukalyong. Kanang nga formula ba kaning flamboyant, kaning controversial, and then
stir the pot, jud, no?
and then manghatag og kwarta. But that's an old-time radio formula, man, that they're using now. Because, basta siguro sa radio, ba, kung manghatag og usa ka million, ba, di mo maminaw, na, di ba? You know what I mean? So the formula is still the same. It's just nga, murabag, akong feeling ba, because I am still in radio, right? Murag, feeling ako na demoralize ang taga-radio bitaw because murag sila, they don't know what hit them ba. But if they really, really look at themselves ba, pariharam ng formula. Manghatag na tagwarta ba, you know, just to say something controversial, you know, like all these controversial figures. Maghuman kaning isog sa like, you know, for example, the late Bobby Nalsaro and si Leo Lastimosa, kana sila mga personalities sa Cebu nga mga isog kayo. Sikat kay sila, di ba? Kay isog man sila. So more na kinanglan sa radio. So I think the formula is the same. It's just pivoting a little bit. Para lang siguro magbutang kag pulbos gamay, you know, to look better and all that stuff.
For the panghatag kwarta thing, doesn't it come across na murag hard sell or desperate? You're trying to get attention, of course, hype, but the approach, what's your take on that?
Yeah, correct. The word is not hard sell. Kanang you're just giving the people what they want, you know.
Siyempre, wa may mabalibad.
Balibad ang kwarta, di ba? So kaning and then we're in the business of attention, di ba? Mo gina negosyo na to sa social media, di ba? We are in the business of attention. So kung manghatag ang kwarta na tanaw ni, you know the story of Mr. Beast, right? The first sponsorship that he had for $10,000, yung ipanghatag, it just grew and grew and grew. So as long as it comes from a sincere place ba, I think, okay naman siguro manghatag ba. It comes from something sincere ba. Dili kay panghatag lang bitaw. Napoy rational ba.
Yeah, but there could be an agenda pud sa panghatag. It depends. Yeah. That requires some discernment sa kung unsa ang end goal or unsa end force.
Well, everybody's got an agenda, man.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
well, in a way.
Yeah. Naman good agenda.
Pero ang uban mas
sinister lang?
Mas sinister or mas desperate.
Oh, yeah. That's correct, of course. Kung ang agenda, like most things, spectrum na. So I guess, agenda niya. Agenda mga education na nasa agenda nga.
Pero like uban, na agenda, pero somehow it impacts positively.
Correct.
Or to a broader community, like na substance ma-impart. But on the other hand, there could be more of a self-directed agenda. So, pro klase-klase man ang tao, so di ta kabuot syempre. Pero anyway, unsa pa? Given your many years media hosting, I imagine that's a very performative job, especially kanang live and you have to be high energy. And that's something na I also look up about you na you can stay high energy. Let's say wa ka sa mood or you're in having a bad day or na kay personal issue, but you have to show up in front of an audience and make them feel happy, alive. So how do you deal with those challenges?
Listen, it has happened to me so many times, man, because I've been doing this for decades.
Gamaoy day ka.
Or lagi, correct.
Ibuwagan day ka. Or something.
Yeah. First of all, kanang two things. Number one, kanang sa radio, you're not live on the air magod like all the time, di ba? Kaya na may kanta ni Human. So pwede ka nga, you know, like alive kay kastanan, you know, like imo ang adlib animated kayo pag human ipong microphone. Yan yun. You know what I mean? Ana ko ana. So it is kind of a murag something goes on ba when I open the microphone murag maabli yun. Parang nabod. Ano bitaw? But mag-hosting ko, that's a different story. Mag-host ka in front of people man. So kita ang mga tao, makadungog yung mga tao. Yeah, constantly, like, you're always kaning in front of people. Kaya tindog mo ka sa crowd, di ba? So, di ka katago sa microphone, unlike radio, hindi mo na makita ang radio. So kuha na gid na siya ba? It's really like a mind thing ba? Like, like
What's harder for you, the hosting or the
hosting
live
ba? Hosting ba?
hosting?
It took me 10 years to be comfortable in front of a crowd because the main reason, one of the reasons why I wanted to be in radio is you can be popular but nobody knows you. Ano bitaw? Na kay mga fans kunuhay pero
Voice ra.
why kailan nimo? So this change in social media nga makit-anday ka di ay mo nanay video, it really was a difficult adjustment for me, let alone mag-host in front of a crowd. So 10 years after I was in radio, diha pa ko na komportable sa hosting kay people kept on calling me, like the Ayalas, the SMs kept on calling me to host kay personality lagi ko ko host good pero eventually murag naanad ako ba. So nawag tang dili na kay ko ma-paralyze sa kapag nervous bitaw. But before ba di ko mahadlok og kuan ba, mahadlok og
So
crowd.
karon di na ka ma
Dili na kay ko ma-nervous.
pero nagyapon
Nagyapon.
ginagmay.
Because being nervous means that you care. That's what it means.
But I think it's part sad that
Part,
you're in the moment.
Yeah.
That nervousness is good for you to condition your mind, to prepare properly.
That means that you care. You want to do well. Karon nervous man kog storya nimo. Kaya I want to do well, I want to
Nervous na. Ako may mas
No,
baguan eh.
dili. Si Michael Guhog. Seriously, there has to be a little nervousness. That means that you care, man gud bay. Mora man na siya.
Oh, yeah.
Dili lang ka
That's
ma-paralyze.
a good nervousness. Okay. Pro, with your podcast, how's it going? Kumusta so far? And I have to credit you for being instrumental in leading me to this. Kay I remember during the pandemic when I launched this, murag I needed some push or some guidance, and I think dako kag tabang kay ever since camera shy kay ko bisag radio. I think you also interviewed me about some car business or product launch niya. Basta shy jud kay ko ato. So murag you were instrumental in pushing me in taking that leap.
Yeah, man.
Although indirectly, pero naa ba?
Yeah. I'm glad that you said that, man, because I also feel nga during the pandemic kita mo tong doon gatikaw ras ka sa social media, di ba? Gamay ram tong mga tao nga gatikaw sa Cebu because media, although we were still on the air, pero murag kaning wala kay to ni kuan ba kay mga tao just stuck in their homes. So the same is true also nga kitang duha murag we inspired each other to pursue this I would call this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So ang akong podcast karon ba, it's still the same. I was able to build a small studio at home. So sa balay lang ko mo mag-podcast unya. Like every now and then kung na ako'y guest nga ma-invite, adto ko dito mag-recording and all that stuff. Pero I don't do it as often as before because of all the things that's going on right now.
A lot on your plate.
So what I do now is just I use the phone na lang and I do like quick interviews lang ba. In fact, if you'll allow me later on ako ipuntahan nimo akong tirahan og telepono nga video. And this is the Counter Podcast.
Okay.